time of my birth in 1996, I was the 12th baby in medical history that they've ever seen this happen to, and out of the 12, 8 of those babies died due to undeveloped organs. They said from the looks of it, it doesn't look like your baby's limbs are being developed. In specific, they said it looks like he's missing his legs, it looks like he's missing his arms, and his face is really messed up. Now, did they lie about my face? Yes. Did they lie about my face? Yes. Okay, I get it. So my parents made a decision. The decision was to focus on the 30% chance of me living versus the 70% chance of me dying. What I focus on expands, but check this out, don't miss this. What I focus on, I feel, and what I feel is my life.
Moving over from the US, so we have Nick going to break a lot of mindset beliefs today, and then after this we're going to do some hot seats where we'll split up in different groups with myself, Aidan, Chris, and different areas. Both you guys can ask us questions, network to everyone, and after that we're just going to have fun and enjoy the rest of the day. So,
should we have them some sit?
Yeah,
I'm going to be on the ground.
Guys, you can sit as well.
But they can sit on the ground. Sit on the ground with me. I'll sit on the ground. They sit on the ground.
I can appreciate this isn't the optimal speaking video, but it's cool. So if you'd rather sit inside and then we'll
There's a lot of space in the back if you want the space.
Hey guys, go in front of the camera as well. There's space back there as well.
Check. Good.
Gonna be nice and cozy.
Oh God, it's trying to eat me up. Should we do mic or no mic? It's a little echoey. Should we do mic or no mic?
I think it's okay. How does that sound at the back? Sound good? Yeah, a little bit soft. A little bit soft.
Hello.
No, that's good.
Can we move people here too? Can we move some people over here?
Yeah, does anyone want to speak behind you? We can just make the speaker further away.
Yeah.
Should we put the speaker there?
Yeah, somewhere away from me.
Oh, it's connected to the phone.
Is there another mic? Is there a mic?
I wonder if I just yell is better. You can keep the mic on. Check. 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 Do no mic.
Just go no mic.
Yeah.
Aidan, we're just going to just...
All right, no mic. Good. Can you hear me? Yes. Oh wow, this is great. If you can see me in the back, just wave at me. I'm super short, so sorry. Not sorry. I'm just curious with a show of hands, how many of you have ever seen me before? How many of you have never seen me before? I've never seen you either. First time for everything. So how many of you are excited because you're in Dubai and you're learning how to make millions of dollars? If you're excited, say, that's me. That's me. Okay, great. That was pretty weak, but that's fine. What I'm going to do over the next 30 minutes is I'm going to share with you one of the greatest frameworks and storytelling frameworks that I've used to make millions of dollars to impact people all around the world, and how to leverage stages in a way where you can sell one to many. Now, for those that don't know me, very briefly, I'm going to go into why I look like this and why I have no legs, one arm, so this is not in your brain when I give you some life-changing information. So in 1996, my parents went in for a late ultrasound. They sat them down and they pulled the baby up on the screen, and suddenly everybody started freaking out. And they were like, what's wrong? What's going on with your baby? They said, we have some very bad news. They said, from the looks of it, it doesn't look like your baby's limbs are being developed. In specific, they said it looks like he's missing his legs, it looks like he's missing his arms, and his face is really messed up. Now, did they lie about my face? Yes. Did they lie about my face? Yes. Okay, I get it. And so they said my face was all jacked up, and my parents didn't know what to do. And in that moment, they said, your baby boy has about a 30% chance to live. They classify me with what they call hand-heart syndrome. Hand-heart syndrome is a super rare genetic disorder that either leaves the babies with undeveloped limbs or undeveloped organs. At the time of my birth in 1996, I was the 12th baby in medical history that they've ever seen this happen to. And out of the 12, 8 of those babies died due to undeveloped organs. In that moment, my parents made a decision. Someone please say decision. You see, oftentimes you think changing your life is this big, drastic, overwhelming thing, when in reality, your life changes in a moment of decision. Your life changes when you decide to put down the drugs and pick up the dumbbell. Your life changes when you decide to leave the toxic relationship that's no longer serving you. But what if I were to tell you that most of your growth in business will not come from learning new things? Most of your growth will be coming from unlearning all the bullshit you've been taught. Between 0 and 10 years old, your model of the world is created. Your belief system between 0 and 10 is created because your brain was in what we call theta state. Theta state is the door to the subconscious mind, meaning you're very suggestible. So for example, with a show of hands, let's play a little game here. If you've ever heard this as a little boy or a little girl, I just want you to raise your hand. We can't afford that. What about this one? Rich people are evil, they're greedy. They probably screwed someone over for that Lamborghini. Okay, great. This is my favorite one. You ready? Money doesn't grow on trees. Bullshit, they print it. You know they print money, right? So it does grow on trees. We just don't have the trees. They got the trees. How about this? I'm just curious. Big boys don't cry. For my ladies, big girls don't cry. And at an early age, you believe money was hard to make. At an early age, you believe you weren't worth it. At an early age, you believe that big boys don't cry. And so one day you're suicidal and depressed and you don't know how to deal with your trauma because a weak man tried to teach you and he didn't know what to do. Most of your growth in business and in life will come from unlearning the bullshit that you taught you. So over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to help you unlearn some things, and then I'm going to give you some storytelling strategies that will allow you to close people in a heart-centered way, but most importantly, transform people's life. Because the truth is, I believe that if you could be a blessing to enough people, you can have anything you want in life. What if I were to tell you that your human experience isn't even for you? Your human experience is for all the people that can learn from you, and your job as a man and your job as a woman is to build yourself into the greatest version of yourself and give yourself to the world. How many of you see Charlie as someone who is constantly contributing and giving back to you? Show of hands. This is the reason why he's successfully, because they adopted the principle. If you want to note this, and by the way, if you got a phone, you could pretend to text or you take some notes. I think you should take some notes. It'd be really valuable. But one of the greatest beliefs or the greatest philosophies that you can jot down is stepping into the identity that you are an offering to the world. Meaning that every single day I'm going to do my best physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, so I can give my best version to you. And if I help enough people get what they want, I can have anything that I want in life. And so in that moment, my parents made a decision. And the decision that my parents made was that they were going to focus on the 30% chance of me living versus the 70% chance of me dying. The reason being, I want you to jot it down. In life, what I focus on, I get more of. Now, what's pretty cool about information and personal development is what I've realized training over 1 million people live from stage is most of you don't need to be taught, you need to be reminded. You're all extremely intelligent individuals, but sometimes information hits at different points in our life. Can I get a head nod on that? Right? It's like a movie. How many of you, with a show of hands, have ever watched a movie and then a month later you watch the same movie but you saw different parts of the movie? Because information hits at different points in your life. So my parents made a decision. The decision was to focus on the 30% chance of me living versus the 70% chance of me dying. What I focus on expands. If you want to jot down what I focus on, I get more of. But check this out. Don't miss this. What I focus on, I feel. And what I feel is my life. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's break it down. If what I feel is my life, that would mean that the quality of my life actually comes down to the quality of the emotions I feel on a day-to-day basis. And I'll prove it to you. How many of you know people who have money who are still pissed off and angry all the time? All right, point to them. Oh, there's no one on here? Okay, great. And then how many of you have ever seen someone with less than you and they were happier than you? Show of hands. You were like, damn, who's really rich? It's the person who's experiencing the emotions they want to feel on a day-to-day basis. You don't want the Lamborghini. You want how the Lamborghini is going to make you. You don't want the Rollie. You want how, that's a good Rollie. You don't want the Rollie. You want how the Rollie's going to make you feel, right? So this whole focus thing is one of the greatest things that will change your life if you can identify where your focus is. Now, for some of you, I think I've taught you this, but I'm going to remind you and reinforce it again. Neuroscience shows that by the age of 35 years old, you are 95% unconscious. What that means is by the age of 35, your actions, your words, your emotions, your triggers, and the way that you show up in the world is on autopilot. That means only 5% of your brain is trying to make a conscious change. That's why changing your life is so hard. I'm just curious, how many of you have ever gotten in your car and driven from point A to point B and had no idea where time went? You just showed up at your destination. You were unconscious. And so one of the greatest gifts that I can give you today in the beautiful city of Dubai on a yacht is helping you identify parts of you that you don't want me to know so you can become a better version of self. Would I have your permission, and can I have your permission to show you unconscious patterns about yourself that you cannot see so you can become a better man and a better woman? Show of hands. Yeah. Is this the right room? Someone say yes? Yes. Okay, great. Now, all I'm going to do, and I want you to notice this, I'm going to teach you the madness while I'm doing it on you. What I've realized about the greatest coaches, the greatest leaders, the greatest speakers, and the greatest communicators is they don't always give their people answers. The greatest teachers and the greatest trainers ask their people great questions that lead them to their own what? Their own answers. Because if I can ask a great question, I can get a great what? A great answer. This is where you can change the game on influencing people. Some of you are trying to give your people the answers versus empowering them with the right question to lead them to the right answer. So what I'm going to do over these next 30 minutes is I'm going to be your little baby Yoda, and I'm going to ask you some questions, and I'm going to make you think. I'm going to make you go places where you may not want to go. Then we're going to gauge the room here. So we're going to do the psychology stuff first, and then I'm going to get into the nerdy communication storytelling frameworks. Does that make sense? Say yes? Yes. And the reason being why that's so powerful is because in business and in life, most people think the mechanics are the majority of the battle, but I can assure you the strategy and the mechanics is only 20% of the battle. I want you to jot this down. Business and in life, 80% is psychology, 20% is mechanics. With a show of hands, how many of you have students that you teach on a day-to-day basis? Show of hands, let me see. You got students you teach? How many of you are like, yo, I've given them the whole... Yeah, you tell them. Are we clear, Captain? Good? Good? Okay, we're good? Okay, no problem. How many of you have ever given your students the whole entire business and they still didn't perform and you were like, what the fuck's going on? Show of hands. It's because you gave them all the mechanics, but you didn't program the belief system so they can take action on the mechanics. It's one of the biggest patterns that falls through. It's not the strategy. They need to be able to think like a successful entrepreneur or they'll fail. How many have ever seen it before in your clients? They fail. You give them everything, but they fail. So it's the psychology. So what I'm going to do real quickly is I'm going to give you a focus evaluation. Meaning, if we can identify where we're focusing on, we can take our life to the next level. I'm going to do this very quickly, and then I'm going to move into the storytelling frameworks. But there's 3 focus patterns that screw most humans and entrepreneurs up. How many patterns? Quick. There's 3. The first focus pattern, I just want you to think, there's no right or wrong answer. In my life, the majority of the times, do I tend to find myself focusing on the things that I have or the things that I don't have? No, don't answer right away. But just think about your life, in your business, with your bank account, in your relationships, with your funnels. Where do I tend to find my focus pattern? Is it on the things that I have or the things that I don't have? Now, of course, there's a combination of both, but maybe one pattern is more dominant than the other. And then we'll gauge the room here. If you're honest and you want some truth, we can see if we can get a breakthrough. Now, how many of you, with a show of hands, would say, Nick, if I'm honest, some of the times I find myself focusing on all the things that I don't have in my life? Put your hands up high. Now look around the room real quickly. Keep them up. Okay, you're not alone. You're not the only crazy out there. Right? Now check this out. This is why this is so profound. You tell me, when you focus on the things that you don't have, do you feel good or do you feel bad? Quick. And because you feel bad, do you take good action in your business or bad action? You're smiling because you know it's you too. We all do it, right? And then because you take bad action, do you have a good life or a bad life? And the cycle repeats. How many of you, if you're honest, know someone, and I know it's not you because you're perfect and there's no personal development work that needs to be done, but how many of you know someone that regardless of how good the day is going, they always point out the one thing that's going wrong? Show of hands. Those people suck. It's shitty. But just imagine if they could just change their focus, they'd change their whole entire life. Now take the man with no legs and one arm for the example. If the man with no legs and one arm didn't do the work and he was just unconscious and he woke up every single day and focused on all the things that he doesn't have, is Nick's life good or bad? Quick. It's a shit life. Jot this down. I don't get the life I have, I get the life I focus on. Don't miss it. I don't get the life I have, I get the life I what? I focus on. Be honest, how many of you in your entrepreneurship journey have had really successful moments, but you fucking robbed yourself of that because you were focused on the wrong thing? He's talking shit over there too, right? He knows. It happens to all of us. So that's the first thing. The second thing, the second focus pattern. In my life, the majority of the times, do I tend to find myself focusing on the things that I can control or the things that I can't control? Take a second. Who said it? Can control? Yeah, good. We're cut from the same cloth over there. Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. Now, can I give you some harsh truth? Yes or yes? Yes. Harsh truth, yes or yes? Yes. Be honest. How many of you still get pissed off in traffic? There's a lot of fucking work to do. And the reason why I share that is because, listen, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, if you let something like traffic dictate how you feel internally, you're a weak individual. Good luck in business going against me. Good luck going against another CEO who can manage his emotional state. Do you realize that every single time something in the external world dictates how you feel internally, you're a slave to the game? Most people are slaves and they don't even know it. So there's a few things that I want you to jot down that you can control, which will change the quality of your life. Because, by the way, as leaders, our job is to bring certainty into uncertain situations. And as leaders, if you want to bring certainty into uncertain situations, you must simply control your controllables. You have to literally surrender to the rest, and you have to control only the things that you can control. Would someone shout out to me, what is something that you can control, which is in your control?
Attitude.
Attitude, good.
Your words.
What was it?
Your words.
Your words. Your integrity, your words. What about else?
Effort.
Action. Good. Here's a few more. I want you to jot them down. The first thing that you can control, which I'm teaching you in the moment, is your focus. Can you control your focus? Yes or yes? Yes. How fast can you shift your focus? Snap your fingers, because I ain't got them. You can change your focus that fast. So understand this, ladies and gents, understand that when you're feeling insecure, when you're feeling inadequate, when you're feeling less than, who created the feeling? You did. You created something in your brain because what you focus on you feel, and what you feel is your life, and you created a scenario that made you feel inadequate, and then you show up in the world a less version of yourself, and you create it all in the brain. You tell me, can you be grateful for something that hasn't even happened yet?
Yes.
You can. Can you feel insecure about something that will never happen?
Yes.
It's a double-edged sword. Interesting. So you can control your focus. The second thing that you can control, which you are exercising in this moment, is the content that you consume on a day-to-day basis. You are what you eat. True or false? Quick. You are what you eat. It's crazy. Most people, they wake up and they immediately check their phone. They see an email, a text message, a phone call, or a post that triggers them, and then they have a whole shit day. They have no idea. You are what you eat. And the third and final thing that you can control, which is the most difficult, and you've been told this your whole life, is the people that you surround yourself with on a day-to-day basis. Now, the reason why this is difficult and one of your greatest worthy opponents in life is because sometimes it's your closest family and friends that don't understand why you're on a yacht in Dubai. True or false? Yeah. What'd you spend all that money for? What are you guys doing over there? Is it illegal? Is it crypto? True or false? They have no idea what the fuck's going on, right? But they're like, why are you doing that? I mean, if you're honest, how many of you have had people very close to you who didn't support your goal or vision? And that's shitty, because you want people to support it. You want people to love it. Now, I'm not telling you to go home and cut these people off from your life. But I will give you what I think is one of the greatest approach, and I want you to jot this down, is there are just some people in your life right now that you need to love from afar. Let me say it again for this. Love from afar. There's just some people that you can't have specific conversations with. True or false? Yeah. There's just specific people that you can't share your business plans with. You can't share where you want to travel to. Some of you, your biggest issue is that you dim your light because you make those feel inadequate when you're being yourself. How many of you, if you're honest, have played it small because the people around you weren't playing it big and you didn't want them to feel uncomfortable? You fuck yourself up. So don't cut these people off, but you just need to love them from afar. One of the hardest loving from afar moments was when my brother was addicted to heroin and fentanyl. And I watched my brother, who was my superhero, who was a Marine, go from a Marine to a junkie and homeless on the side of the road. And I would support him, and I would try ways to support him, and I would give him money, and I would give him this. And then it just got to the point where I said, even my own damn brother, I have to love from afar because it's not my brother, it's the drugs. And then he died. But I don't know what would happen if I would have stayed in proximity, what I would have got wrapped into. Proximity is power. You become who you surround yourself with, even the closest family and friends. And so I want you to take the wisdom that I'm giving you seriously, because knowledge isn't power. Knowledge is potential power. The real power comes from implementation, and I can assure you the greatest entrepreneurs and the greatest men and greatest women, they're not the smartest, they just execute faster than anyone else. Do you have an implementation award?
No, but I'm going to rank one after you said that. I like
Really?
It. Yeah, you should do. That's sick.
Who said implementation bonus? Can you announce it?
Yeah,
let's do that. Okay, let's do this. Someone say yes? Yes. Someone say yes? Yes. Do you want money? Yes. Do you want Charlie's money? Yes. Yeah! Okay, great. So what we're going to do is this. When I teach strategies at the end, communication strategies, whatever it is, the fastest person to implement and execute the strategy, Charlie's going to give you 1 Bitcoin. No, I'm just kidding. No. You can come up with the price. How about that?
$500 PayPal.
Okay, $500 PayPal. Make some noise for that. Make some noise for that. Make some noise for that. Good. Implementation. Now, the third and final focus pattern. Do I still got you? Are you still here? Yes, yes? Yes. The third and final focus pattern is, in my life, the majority of the times, do I tend to find myself focusing on the past, the present, or the future? Take a second. Don't tell me. Let's just think about it. Where do I tend to find my focus? In the past, the present, or the future? Now, what's awesome about training over 1 million people live from stage is that regardless of where you come from, what your background is, what your beliefs are, patterns are just patterns. Humans are just humans, so you can see patterns. So check this out. Let's gauge the room here. How many of you would say, Nick, I actually find myself spending a lot of time focusing on the past? Show of hands. A few of you. Okay, great. It's always usually very little. Now, for those that focus on the past, the reason why your brain loves to focus on the past is because your brain loves to remind you of all the things you suck at. All the things that didn't go your way, all the funnels that sucked, all the people that said no to your offer, and it loves to remind you of all the things that failed so you don't try it again. Be honest. How many of you, I remember getting into sales, my first sales calls, grinding. How many of you have ever gotten on a sales call, someone told you no, and then you were like, fuck, like my offer sucks, I can't do it, and your next sales call is probably shit because you brought the same energy there? It happens all the time. Fellas, can I talk to the fellas? Fellas say yes? Yes. Be honest, and I know there's some ladies here, but be honest. Have you ever got blown out by a girl, right? Rejected. She totally told you no, and then you lost the pep in your step for a little bit. You're like, maybe I am ugly. Anyone? I know I have. I'm like, is it because I'm 3'5"? What's going on here, right? But the greatest coaches and the greatest entrepreneurs, I want you to jot this down, are willing to suck long enough until they're great at something. This is a key belief. This belief will allow you to crush most coaches, most entrepreneurs, and business owners. They understand that they have to go through the season of suck before they become a master. True or false? True. And if you are willing to persist through the season of suck, you can master anything. I wasn't always a great speaker. I was horrendous. You can go on my YouTube. There were terrible videos of me speaking. But I was willing to suck long enough until I was great at something. So those are for the people in the past. How many of you would be like, Nick, I try to find myself focusing on the present moment? Show of hands. Now watch this. How many of you spend majority of your time in the present moment focusing on the future? Show of hands. Put them up high. Now look around. Now in the rooms that I'm in, because I'm in some pretty cool rooms with some ballers and some people that are doing amazing things, is usually majority of the room is always focused on the future because you're an action taker, you're an achiever, you always focus on the next goal, the next speaking engagement, the next client, the next funnel, the next the next email campaign, whatever it is. And I love that for you, but there's got to be a balance. Someone say balance. Balance. Because if you're always focused on the future, you're going to miss all the blessings that are right in front of you. And I'll prove it to you. How many of you right now have people, places, networks, resources that were once a hope, once a wish, and once a prayer, and you have them right now? Show of hands. Look to the person next to you and say, don't miss it. All right, now punch the other person. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So, to bring this back, be honest, how many of you, even just walking away from this boat, could be like, wow, if I just am a little bit more intentional on my focus, my whole life will change? Show of hands. That's a beautiful thing, because at this level of business and this level of entrepreneurship, you're not looking for massive changes. At this level, we're just looking for the small 2mm shifts. True or false? The small tweaks that make the difference. The small tweaks in the funnel, the small tweaks in the communication, the small tweaks in the way that I heal, whatever it is. We're just looking for the small shifts. And so my intention over the time that I'm teaching is to give you these small shifts that will change the quality of your life. Now, fast forward to the communication and the speaking. I believe that your level of communication is directly correlated to how much money and how many lives that you impact. Would you agree with that? Yes or yes? If you can't communicate and articulate your offer, you won't close anyone. If you can't communicate and articulate, you can't change your students' lives. How many of you know people who have money who suck at speaking? Be honest. And you wish they had the skills, or maybe you wish you had the skills because you can articulate your ideas in a way better way. I believe that communication and standing on stages is the #1 generator of leads. It's how I've generated millions of dollars, and I'm going to show you the way where it's just front funnel and there's a back funnel. Now, how did this all come about? Well, I'm 28 years old, and when I was 20, I was in a mastermind like this. It wasn't as cool as this. I wasn't in Dubai. I wasn't on a yacht. I was in Tampa, Florida, and I shared my story, and there was a man to the left of me that I've never met in my life before, and he said, you're going to be on stage with Tony Robbins. I said, who's Tony Robbins? I had no idea who Tony was. I had no idea what personal development was. I wasn't a speaker. All I did was smoke weed and pick weights up and put them down. That's all I knew how to do. I was just a bodybuilder. And that man said, I'm going to work for you for free, and if one day you like the work we do, maybe one day we'll start a company together. That was 8 years ago, 2 multi-7-figure companies, and I currently just ended a 4-year world tour with Tony Robbins. The reason why I share that with you is because I can assure you that your life will continuously change if you stay in the rooms like this. True or false? If you can stay in rooms with people who are richer and smarter than you, you will collapse time. And that's our whole intention, is to get the information so we can collapse time for people. And so between 2018 and 2020, I was on the road speaking. Now, what happened in 2020? COVID. It fucked shit up. True or false? And not many people knew what to do. And me, my whole entire business was based off of speaking engagements, was in-person events. And so all my money went dry. I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in contracts. And I said, oh shit. And in the oh shit moment, there's really 2 types of individuals. You have one person who waits until the world comes back to normal, which they got crushed. And then you have the second person who pivots and adapts. And I believe that success leaves clues. And so immediately I said, who else is in my industry and how do they pivot? How do they adapt? And what I've realized is the greatest speakers started selling online. They started doing virtual events. And I had to become a digital marketer. I didn't know anything about digital marketing. I didn't know anything about selling. And because of COVID, I learned all these skill sets, and I've generated millions of dollars from online just because I almost lost everything during COVID. Now, the reason why communication and offer creation is one of the most powerful things is because in life, I believe that you get paid in direct correlation to the value that you bring. Would you agree on that? Yes or yes? If you provide more value, you make more money. True or false? Right? So what I've realized with entrepreneurship and coaching and whatever it may be is that there are 4 levels of value. How many levels? Quick. 4. There's 4 levels of value. Jot these down. The first level of value, by the way, this is cool that we get to I'm usually short and no one's like my height, so you sit on the ground is cool for me, so thanks. Now, there's 4 levels of value. The first level of value is what we call implementers. Someone say implementers. Implementers. Now, implementers are people who work with their hands. So give me an example of a job or an occupation where you work with your hands. Chiropractor? Mechanic? Plumber? Electrician? Personal trainer? It depends on how hands you're getting on, you know? I don't know what kind of training that is, but I'll sign up. No, I'm just kidding. What else? Surgeon. OnlyFans? Yeah, that's good. I like it. Great. I think that's the first time I've gotten that, but we are in Dubai. Now, check this out. People are held to their level of value based on their psychology. What I've realized is the biggest bottleneck in any business is the CEO's psychology and beliefs. They can have the greatest mechanics, but if the CEO and the visionary's beliefs are shot, the whole organization's shot. Now, implementers are people like you said, painters, hairstylists, mechanics, builders, all these different things. Now, in America, I'll give the USD numbers, but implementers maybe at a maximum level can make 80 to maybe 100,000 US, maybe. But there's a cap on how much they can make. Someone say cap. There's a cap on how much money that they can make, right? And there's a specific belief that keeps implementers. You ready for the belief? Someone say yes? Yes. The belief that keeps implementers is they believe the harder I work, the more money I make. How many of you have ever heard your dad or your mom or someone in your life, you just gotta work harder, you'll make more money? Show of hands. Is it true? No. Bullshit, it's not true. I don't know about you, but the harder I work, the more tired I am. True or false? True. There's only so many houses that you can paint, right? There's only so many cars that you can fix in a time frame. So they believe the harder you work, the more money you make, and that's just not true. Then we move into the second level of value. The second level of value is what we call unifiers. Someone say unifier. Unifiers. Unifiers are people who oversee people, oversee systems, oversee organizations. Typically when you're an employee, you want to get promoted to the manager. You want to oversee things, right? And with a unifier, would you agree, maybe at a high-level management position, you can make 150 to 200 maybe, but there's still a cap. True or false? True or false? True. There's still a cap on how much money you can make. There's only so much time that you have. Now, unifiers, there's a belief that keeps unifiers, and the belief is this. The more knowledge I have, the more money I make. Is that true? What do you think? How many of you think it's true? True or false? False. How many of you know someone who knows a shit ton but can't find their way out of a paper bag? How many of you at one point knew everything but you wouldn't execute, so you really didn't get any results? So more knowledge doesn't equal the more money you make. That's bullshit too. So those are two things we can unlearn. Harder you work doesn't equal more money. More knowledge you have doesn't equal more money. What if I were to tell you that there's actually people in your same industry who are making more money than you, and the reason why they're doing it is because they're in the game more than you are. They don't even know what the fuck they're doing. They're just executing more than you are. That's it. Now that you know 1 and 2, you move into the highest level of values. You move into 3 and 4. The third level of value is what we call communicators. Someone say communicators. Communicators. These are people who make money when they talk. These are speakers. These are singers. These are rappers. These are sales professionals. These are coaches, experts like yourself. These are people who make money when they talk. Now, as a high-level communicator and a high-level coach, if you're speaking on stages, I think maybe you can make maybe $1 million, $2 million if you're traveling around doing a bunch of keynotes and you have a really high fee, but you're still trading time for money. But how many of you would agree it's a big jump from unifier to communicator and how much money you make? Show of hands. So if we all just committed to becoming better communicators, we would make more money. Now, communicators, they understand that they can influence to make money. They can influence to get deals done. They can influence to get equity, partnerships, affiliates, whatever it may be. And then you move into the highest level of value. And the highest level of value is what we call an imaginator. Someone say an imaginator. Imaginator, whether you like them or not, imaginators are people like Elon Musk. These are people like Zuckerberg. These are people like Bezos. These are people like Charlie Johnson, yourself, Warren Buffett. And the beautiful thing about imaginators, and this thing changed my life, if there's anything that you take out of this session, it's this. Imaginators believe wholeheartedly that they can have a download or an idea up here, they can create it, and they can make unlimited amount of money. How many of you realize that before Amazon was Amazon, it was an idea in your brain? True or false? Your business was an idea in your brain. That specific program, that specific funnel, that specific webinar was an idea in your brain until money came into your pocket. Yes or yes? So imaginators understand that there is no limit on the ideas that they have in their brain, and there's unlimited amount of things that they can take from their brain, create it, sell it, exit it, make a whole bunch of money. True or false? What's even more important is understanding that your ideas have a shelf life. Do you get that term, shelf life? How many of you, you go to the grocery store and there's an expiration date on the fruit because it goes bad? Yes or yes? Yes. Your ideas have an expiration date as well. I'll share a story. Whether you like them or not, I just like the story. But when Michael Jackson was at his top, when he was super, super famous, he woke up at 3 a.m. and he called his manager and said, I have an idea. We need to film this song. We need to record this song. And he was like, Michael, go to sleep. It's 3 a.m. He said, I can't go to sleep. We got to record it now. He said, why? He said, if I go to sleep, by the time I wake up, Prince will already record the song. He knew that God, the universe, whatever you believe in, puts an idea into your heart. And if you don't follow through with it, he gives it to someone else. How many of you, be honest, have had an idea and you didn't fucking do it? She's already raising her hand. And then you saw someone and you said, that's my idea. True or false? So your ideas have a shelf life. Someone say yes? Yes. So I want you to be very conscious of when you get an idea and when you get the enthusiasm, when you get empowered and you get really fired up, what do you got to do? Execute. And guess what? If you execute fast enough, he'll send you $500 on PayPal. That's incredible. But your ideas have a shelf life. And what you've done with your business by creating offers is that you've stepped into the communicator role and the imaginator role. So I want you to know this. The harder you work doesn't equal the more money you make. The more knowledge you have doesn't equal the more money you make. But the higher I work, the more money I make. You don't need to work harder. You need to work higher. Jot it down. I need to work higher. Where in my life can I would ask the question, where in my life can I communicate? Where my people would buy from me? What offers can I create at a higher level? Like every single one of you should have, can I talk shit? Is this okay? Okay, great. What kind of offers do they have?
All types of fitness.
Okay, great. All of you should have like an extravagant VIP offer, like a VIP day. Like my VIP day, if people want to sit down with me for 8 hours and map out their whole entire business, it's $100,000. Now, what the price does is immediately the price qualifies and disqualifies. True or false? Because 100K ain't for everybody. But guess what? I don't want everybody. I don't want to work with all of you. My time is too valuable. And so one of the greatest things that I've learned from my mentor is that there are 3 types of people. How many types of people? 3. The first type of people, ready for this? The first type of people is what we call freeple people. Freeple people are people who love free shit. How many of you love free things? See, this ain't that type of room. They don't like free things. They paid to be here. True or false? True. Right? How many of you know, though, some humans who love free things? How many of you have ever been to a concert? They're like, we're going to give out free clothes. They're like, oh, my God. They go crazy over free stuff. So you have freeple people. You need an offer for the freeple people. Yes or yes? Yes. They can get an offer. And then you move into the second level, which are cheapo people. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Say yes. Cheapo people are people who are cheap. How many of you know someone who loves a good discount? Show of hands. How many of you like a good discount? Okay, great. I respect it, right? Cheapo people. You need a cheap offer for the cheapo people if you want to serve them. And then you move into the highest level of people. The highest level of people are my type of people. And this is what we call prepo people. Prepo people are people who only buy premium. Someone say premium. How many of you agree that when you get to a specific level of business and in life, you become just a premium person? Like you only want premium? Yes or yes? Yes. You like the best restaurants, you like the best underwear, you like the best Wagyu, you like the best girls, guys, you like the best. You like the best programs. Check this out. How many of you, if someone offers you something really cheap, you don't want it, you're skeptical of it because it's too cheap? Show of hands. Look what you did to these damn people. They're people, right? So what that means as a people person is that I buy premium, I sell premium, and I am premium. There was a moment in my life, my team doesn't like it, but there was a moment in my life where I was like, I'm only taking Uber Blacks. Fuck a Toyota. True or false? I was like, I'm not a Toyota type of guy. I'm one of the greatest speakers. Don't see me in a Toyota, but it's part of my identity. And I say this in the heart-centered way. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I just believe that one of the greatest things that you could do is view yourself more valuable. Because I know damn well, far too long, what it feels like to feel like a piece of shit. What it feels like to not feel like a man, to not feel attractive, to not feel successful, to not feel adequate, to not feel enough. And I've done so much work on my identity to the point that I never want to go back to cheapo people Nick. True or false? I only want to move forward and never want to go backwards. And so I just want to plant that seed within your brain of I need to have an offer for everybody. And I know my 100K VIP is not for everybody, but for a few people it's absolutely perfect. So it qualifies and disqualifies. Offers that qualify and disqualify people. Now, I'm going to shift into my favorite framework for storytelling. Now, this storytelling framework, you can use it anywhere, meaning you can use it in a conversation, you can use it on a podcast, you can use it on an in-person stage, a virtual stage, whatever it may be. And I'm going to break it down so simple. And if you just start speaking in this way, your people are going to have more breakthroughs. And if your people have more breakthroughs, they're going to keep buying. And they're not going to drop out, and they're going to get the results. Now, the framework is this. You ready? Someone say yes? Yes. Y'all ready? You got your fingers ready? How many of you got 10 fingers?
Ready.
Assholes. Okay, I'm just kidding. Ready? The framework is this. It's called Story, Teach, Breakthrough, or tool. But Story, Teach, we'll use Breakthrough. Story, Teach, Breakthrough. Not STD, but STB, okay? STB. Story, Teach, Breakthrough. Now, one of the most powerful things about storytelling is a great way to help people build new belief. One of my greatest breakthroughs, because how many of you have ever done like virtual challenge? You pitched on virtual challenges? Anyone do challenges, webinars? Yeah. Anyone? Right? One of the things that I realized, and I'd be curious, and this may be a good insight for you, but one of the biggest things that I realized is that I felt, when creating offers, I felt so inadequate that I would put so much fucking information in the program or the event before I sold, where no one would buy because they were just so confused and I gave them so much information. And I realized that I don't even need to teach much mechanics in my events. I just need to build belief that they can do it. And if I can build belief and desire that they can have the outcome, they can get the six-pack, they can get the business or the plaque, if I can just build belief and desire, they're going to buy what I have. But most time people don't buy. It's not because they don't believe in your product. They don't believe in themselves. You haven't created enough belief and desire that they said, oh shit, I can do it just like Charlie did. Does that make sense? Say yes? Right? So stories are a great way to go over the conscious mind and plant beliefs in the unconscious mind. Now this is a little bit nerdy, but I want to give you the method behind the madness. So for example, if your target demographic, someone give me, what's your target demographic?
It's pretty open. It's mainly just guys, any age, that want to get in shape, lose fat.
Guys any age that
Want to lose fat.
Can I love on you?
Yeah.
Can I give you some support?
Yeah, sure.
What I've realized is wanting to serve everybody is serving nobody. Jot it down. You want to serve? I'm not saying that to you. By the way, I'm not like calling you out.
I'll go for it.
But serving everybody is serving nobody, meaning that I just think we can always dial in the person more, right? And so, for example, how old are you?
22.
22, right? And so he can use a story about a client who was 19, who was broke, going to university or about to go university. He really wanted to get the six-pack. He would do whatever it takes, and he found the money, and then he made the investment, and his life changed. What he did within that story was he programmed that if you don't have money, you can find what? You can find money. He had obliterated the excuse that if you're 19 and you're still broke, it's no excuse for you to not get in shape. So you see what he did there. With the story, you can implant the beliefs that you want your clients to have. And if you implant the right beliefs, they'll have the right psychology to take yes on your offer. But most of us don't set people up enough ready to take your offer. They don't have the right belief system. So story, teach, breakthrough. How it goes like this. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to share a story, and then I just want you to see the framework within my story. Now, by the way, story, there's a story. The teach is me anchoring a specific one-liner, a specific message, and then the breakthrough is, and by the way, you can have a shit story, you can have a terrible teaching, but if you come with a breakthrough question, you will change people's lives forever. If you can ask a really great question to lead people to a really great answer, they will always remember you. That's what's incredible about being a healer, is that a healer, I'm not a healer. A healer isn't someone that you go to for healing. A healer is someone who triggers you to heal yourself. So as a coach and as a leader, if I can ask a great question to lead you to your own breakthrough, you will always love me because I gave you an insight that no one's ever given you before. Does that make sense? Say yes? Yes. So here's a story, teach, breakthrough. When I was 16 years old, I was a fat Italian chubby kid who loved food. I was insecure, I was suicidal, I was depressed, and I hated the fact that I was born with no legs, one arm. And it got to the point where I had an honest conversation with myself, and I said, Nick, you either kill yourself or you figure out how to fall in love with this vessel, because this body's not going to change, and you need to take control of your brain. You need to get your life to the next level. My older brother, who was alive at the time, he was a wrestler in America, and wrestlers was a big sport. I always thought wrestlers were the most badass thing in the world, and also wrestlers got girls. And one of my biggest pain points at that time was girls not feeling good enough, and so one of my pain was like, what can I do to get women? And I'm just being honest, we have a lot of demon drivers that drive us for a lot of our career. And so for me, at the time, this arm, I know some of you can't see this, but this shorter arm was about 5 inches longer than it is now, and my bone was going faster than my skin. And it was super sensitive, and the bottom line is, if I would have hit my arm hard enough, my bone would have came through my skin. But I was so disgusted with myself that I needed to get out of this hole. Now what I've realized is humans will change for 2 reasons. How many reasons? 2. Either pain or pleasure. But humans will always run away from pain faster than they'll run towards pleasure. That's why most of you don't leave the relationship until it becomes physically abusive or emotionally abusive. Most of us, not this group, but most people don't go to the gym until the doctor says you're going to die. So the pain was so deep that I needed to make a massive change. And so I came home one day and I sat both my parents down. I said, Mom and Dad, I want to become a wrestler. My mom was like, hell no. Wrestling's the most physical sport. God forbid you hit your arm, your bone comes through your skin. What are you going to do then? And I looked at my parents and I said, can we cut my arm off? And they said, what? I said, yeah, can we cut my arm off? Can we do something about it? And they said, Nick, the right word is amputate. You're so aggressive with your words. I said, it's fine. Can we cut my arm off? Can we do something about it? And they agreed. My sophomore year of high school, my parents went ahead and scheduled the appointments for me to amputate my arm so I could become a wrestler. Here comes the teach. What are you willing to sacrifice in your life to be successful? Here's the breakthrough question. Hopefully it's not a limb like me, but what are the very people, beliefs, or thoughts that you need to cut off that are no longer serving you? Do you see what I did? Yes or yes? Yes. I used the story, I taught, and then what I did was I asked a powerful question to lead them to a breakthrough based on what I just taught them. Does that make sense? Or did I go over your head? Is it good? Yeah. So with that, most of my events and most of my keynotes are all STB, STB, STB. If I want to teach a funnel, I'm going to share a story about a funnel and someone who changed their life with a funnel. I'm going to teach something, and then I'm going to ask them a question that's going to give them a breakthrough and build belief. Should I give you another example? Yes. Want another example? Great. I travel a lot. And by the way, see what I'm doing here is in real time, I'm pulling from what I call my story bank. A story bank is a place in your brain that you have all your stories that you can always pull out from to help people learn, a new belief. And so what if you just sat down and you listed out all the stories in your life and thought out the teaching and the breakthrough question and you memorized them? You would have unlimited stories to tell people and you would never run out of information. So I travel a lot, and I was on a specific flight. It was Southwest Flight 244. And, you know, I'm in a wheelchair. And so does anyone know what happens when you go through the airport in a wheelchair? Yes. What happens? They take it away from you. You get to skip the line, right? I get the cruise past all of you, and I just get to skip the line. Focus on my strengths, yes? And so they roll me through, and then I get in towards the plane, and I get into the plane, and I sat towards the first row. And it was a 3-seater row, and I sat towards the window so 2 other people can have the best seats in the plane. And I remember the flight attendant saying, "Honey, this is going to be a full flight." I said, "No worries, I already got my seat, I already got my spot, I'm all good." And the plane started filling in, and people are looking at me and then looking away, or, "Hey, look at that guy." And as the plane started filling in, no one wanted to sit next to me. And as the plane's filling in, I'm feeling inadequate. I'm feeling insecure. I'm feeling like I don't fit in. With a show of hands, how many of you have ever felt those feelings? And I'm looking out the window, and I'm trying to be a stud, but I'm tearing up a little bit. And I'm like, "Nick, what would you tell the people you teach?" You know, what's so interesting about the work we do here is that we only get to use your tools when shit doesn't go your way. And so in this moment, I'm like, what's the gift? What's the learning? I got to figure it out. And my brain, I asked a great question, so my brain gave me a great answer. My brain said this: "Nick, you can cry all the way home. You can let this affect your day, your week, your month. Or Nick could celebrate the fact that he has the most legroom in this plane." Snap your fingers for me, I'll pretend. In the snap of a finger, I took a situation that was a loss and I turned into a what? Quick. By the meaning I attached to the experience. Here's the teach. The meaning you attach to the experience becomes the experience. Jot it down. Don't miss it. Baby Yoda's spitting some shit up here. The meaning you attach to the experience becomes the experience. Here comes the breakthrough question. STB. ST what? B. Where in your life have you attached a negative meaning to something and you want to liberate yourself and find the new meaning in it? Even just me teaching you the framework through a story, someone's going to get a breakthrough off that question. Someone's going to leave this boat. They're going to be laying in their hotel. They're going to be like, "That guy fucked my head up." And then they're going to find a moment where they were the victim, and they're going to thank that person for what they did to him, just because I asked a question. This little framework, if you just implement this, you will impact more lives. If you impact more lives, they will buy more of your things. You will change more lives. And this is just 1% of the rabbit hole of tricks. STB. It'll change the game for you. And if you go home and you really take some time to think about a story bank, think about the story when you got your first sale. Think about a story when you wanted to quit. Think about a story when you lost weight. Think about a story when you had a breakup. Think about all different stories. And then you can teach anywhere, anytime. And what I've also realized, especially hanging with the millionaires and billionaires that I coach, is what do you give someone who can buy everything? You give them a breakthrough. What do you give someone who can buy everything? You give them something they can't buy, which is a breakthrough. Imagine asking a high net worth individual a question that he's never been asked in his life, and you led him to a place where he's never been. He'll always remember you. And so that's my intention, is anytime that I'm with people, I'm going to left them better than they were. But with communication, people won't always remember what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. If you help people feel more, they will have more breakthroughs. You'll make more money, more fulfillment. But please, 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 work on communication, work on storytelling. And I'll end with this. You're one stage away from a whole different life. And what I mean by that is, how much time do I got? Am I good on this? Are you guys good? Are you getting value? Yes or yes? Okay, great. So you're one stage, I want you to adopt the belief, you're one stage away from changing your whole entire life. I want you to understand this. Some of you are missing out on a massive client because you're scared to make the offer. But I want you to jot this down. The offers you don't make are the offers they can't take. If I just make more offers, I'll make more money. If I make offers to wealthier people, I'll make even more money. True or false? Yes or yes? True. Right? Let me see how I want to give you this before I go. Stages, I'll give you two things that changed my life, impacted a lot of lives, made a bunch of money. The first thing is stages. There are virtual stages and there are in-person stages. But I can assure you, my hallucination is the majority of this group isn't leveraging stages to the best of their ability. So I want you to commit to going on more Instagram lives and making offers. I want you to go on podcasts and make offers. Going on podcasts and making offers or giving some sort of free resource out, it's an evergreen salesperson. That podcast never goes away. I'm still closing deals from podcasts that I did 5 years ago because I did it right once. Imagine being able to speak once and get paid forever. That's the vibe that I'm on, right? And so stages, in-person stages, virtual stages, yacht stages, mastermind stages. Now, if you can't sell at an event, one of the greatest things that took my business to the next level is asking the podcast host or the event organizer, hey, what's your name?
Alfie.
Say it again.
Alfie.
Alfie.
Yeah.
Alfie, you have a show? You have a podcast?
No.
You should have just said yes so you can get me on your podcast.
All
You should have
right.
pretended. You have a podcast?
No, but I'll start one.
No, say you do. Just lie. Okay, he's got a podcast. If I was to come on his podcast, I would say, hey, I would love to come on your podcast. Would it be okay if at the end of my podcast, I give your audience a free gift, no strings attached? Yeah, absolutely. Everybody wants to give more value to their audience. And so if I know exactly the audience that listens to that podcast, I can create a very intentional free resource that they'd want to take, right? So at the end of the podcast, my transition statement is this. And by the way, I don't know if anyone else was fucked up with sales, but if you've ever got sold to in a sleazy way, maybe unconsciously or consciously, you have a bad relationship with sales. Maybe you're a little bit afraid of it. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that I am heart-centered. You know how in sales they say there's sharks? Yes or yes? Sharks? I want to be a dolphin. There's sharks and there's dolphins. I want to be a dolphin. People love to swim with dolphins. They're heart-centered. It's more relatable. It's more friendlier. So what I do is this. If I can't sell, I'll say, for those that got value out of this podcast, or for those that got value from this speech, in honor of you being here today, I want to give you a free resource that will allow you to go a little bit deeper. Now, this free resource isn't for everybody, but for a few of you, it's perfect. Qualify, disqualify, and then I give the free resource. Now, here's another transition statement. If you're able to sell, and by the way, I don't know about you, but I was the type of speaker before I learned sales that I'm really good at my keynote, but when it got to the offer, I'd be like, oh shit. My whole physiology would change. Anyone would shake up during the offer? Anyone? Or you guys lie about other things? Okay, great. And so what I would do is my transition statement is this. And by the way, this psychology technique will take your conversions to the next level. Always ask for permission before you sell. Always ask for permission before you make the offer. What do I mean by that? I'll say something like this. Pretend with me, ready? How many of you got value from my session today? Say yes. Yes. Would it be okay if I took a few minutes to talk about how we change people's lives on a deeper level? Yes. You just gave me permission to sell. Now it's not a sell anymore, it's an invitation because you already bought into what I wanted to give you. True or false? True. So I would always make more offers. If it's free, do it free. If it's paid, And last but not least, I would share this. You are doing people a disservice by not sharing your story. Some of you don't think your story is valuable, but I want to let you know that your ordinary story is actually extraordinary because it connects with people just like you. Just think about it. Having no legs, one arm doesn't relate to any of you. None of you know what the fuck it means to have no legs, one arm. So I have to tell stories that relate to you, true or false. If you go and climb Mount Everest, how many people can relate to climbing Mount Everest? Not a lot of people. So throw out the belief that your story is not powerful. Your story, your ordinary story is actually extraordinary because it connects with people all around the world. And every single day that you don't share your story, someone out there is suffering because they haven't met you yet. And it's selfish of you. With that being said, I'll leave you here with that. I hope your brain is not broken. I hope you got some value. I don't know if we want to do what I'd like to do, if you're okay with it, is before we jump into breakouts, if we can anchor, I'll aha moments, right? So aha moments is like something I said that you're like, that's really valuable, something that you had a breakthrough, or something that was really valuable you want to reinforce. And the reason why we're doing this, not for you to fill my head up, but when you just listen to it, it only embodies a little bit, but when you speak your insight or speak your breakthrough, it engraves it more into your nervous system. Does that make sense? Say yes? Yes. So what I'd like to do before we jump into breakouts is, with a show of hands, if anyone would like to share like an aha, just an aha that they want to share an insight. Yeah, go ahead, start us off.
Ask permission before you sell.
Ask for permission before you sell. How many agree with that? Good one, right? Good. What else?
Every day you don't share your story, someone's suffering because you didn't.
Every day you don't share your story, someone suffers because you didn't. Who likes that one? Show of hands. Good.
Story, teach, breakthrough.
Story, teach, breakthrough. Simple enough, right? Yeah. Now you everything's a story. Even this, I can create a mastermind story about here I was with high-level individuals, and I was with premium people, and blah, 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 blah. Always STB. Anyone else?
What I focus on, I feel, and what I feel is my life.
What I focus on, I feel. What I feel is my life. A good one. Great. Anyone else? Oh, yeah.
You don't have to be taught, you have to be reminded.
Most of you don't need to be taught, you need to be reminded. Good one.
Stepping into an identity that you are an offering to the world.
Ooh, stepping into the identity that you are an offering to the world. Who likes that one? Show of hands. It's a good one.
It's not about the Lamborghini or the Rolex, it's the feeling you're looking for.
Ooh. Yeah, so good. Not about the Lamborghini or the Rolex, it's about the what? The feeling. Good.
Create a story bank.
Create the story bank. Who's up for creating a story bank? Committed to that. Who's going to take this information and do nothing? No, I was kidding. Great. Anyone else? Yeah.
Embody the identity you want to be.
Embody the identity you want to be. Oh, I got something for you. Ready? Someone say yes? I'm going to give it to you anyway, even if you didn't want it. It's good. There is... What if I were to tell you that the moment someone buys, their life has already changed? The moment somebody buys, their identity immediately changed because they come the type of person that buys that shit, that buys that premium thing. And guess what? It's hard to sell something that you've never bought. Are you hearing me? You want to sell a 50K day, but you never bought a 50K day. That's why you can't sell a 50K day. You're not even in that bracket. So understand that the transformation happens within the transaction. That's powerful for people as well. So when you're talking to people, it's like, hey, even before we get started, your life's going to change because you're finally investing in yourself. Where are my ladies at? Ladies, put your hand up. Ladies, how many of you agree oftentimes you would do more for other people than yourself? How many of you actually investing in this was like one of the only things that you did for yourself that you felt really good about, right? And so the transformation happens within the transaction. That was really good. I don't know who, you brought me down a rabbit hole, so good job. You got one?
Yeah, the offers you don't make is the offer you can take.
The offers you don't make are the offers they can't take. More offers, more money, right? Anyone else? Good?
Business and life is 20% strategy, 80% psychology.
20% strategy, 80% psychology. Well done. Go ahead.
The meaning you attach to the experience becomes the experience.
Yeah, you like that. It's a good one. My favorite one. How many like that? The meaning, right? Just change the meaning. Change the meaning, change your life. Go ahead.
I had the same as the 80% mechanics.
Yeah.
And 20 psychology.
Good.
Cut out people that aren't serving you.
Cut out people that don't serve you. Great.
Don't work harder, work higher.
Don't work harder, work higher. Outstanding. So, ton of breakthroughs, ton of insight. I hope this was valuable for you. And I think we're going to jump into breakouts. But thanks for having me, brother.
Big round of applause for Nick.